Hello and good morning and welcome to New Forest Morphs. And today, Jared, we've been doing a very thorough clean today and just inspecting all our snakes. And we've decided not to feed snakes, and they've gone 10 days now, Jared, since we've fed them. And the reason why we're doing that, Jared, what's the main reason that we've decided not to feed our snakes, having gone through what we've experienced on Saturday?
Because I was at a wedding on Friday, which is when we normally feed, and then we had a power cut on Saturday, so we decided not to feed them.
Yeah, we were really fortunate. I mean, I had a lovely message from one of our viewers, Ben, I'm trying to remember the name of his channel. He's got his own YouTube channel, BG Pythons I think it's called, and he's got about 20 snakes, and he shared an experience with us. He had a retic that was 20 years old, Jared, and he had a power cut, and the retic was in the middle of digesting a rat, and it was quite a decent sized meal, and unfortunately he lost his retic. Because the snake didn't have the belly heat to digest the food, and he lost it. And so he's got a backup facility as well. I think he was saying he found the videos really helpful because it made him think about how suitable his backup is. And I'm hoping that people out there that do have backups or don't have backups can learn from our experiences. So I hate anyone out there to lose snakes or to have a devastation impact on their breeding for this year. And Rob was saying it's more dangerous to have a high 33 spike than it is to have like a low 71, 72 drop in temps. And I think he was saying that your season is over if the girls end up getting and the boys end up going over 33, then you're much more likely to write off your season. And I found that was interesting. So I think these snakes are quite resilient on drops in temperature. They're not as resilient on the heights, and I think this is where we need to be really careful of managing those temps and making sure that we're not going to the other extreme as well. So it is a fine balance, and Rob was saying that if it was him in here going through the experience, he'd be seriously stressed by it all. And he said that we've done incredibly well, Jared, to cope with this given all the conditions. And he said that we've done really well, but he's given us some good counsel as well and some good advice. And I think it sits well with us because his recommendation is not to feed for a while, and I think that's what we're planning to do anyway, isn't it, Jared? But it's nice to get it confirmed by a top breeder. Ironically enough, we've also lost, and we didn't mention this, we've lost £200 worth of rat food, haven't we, from the defrosting problem we had with the freezer, because we inspected our food today, and perhaps we can just show our viewers what we've done. And let's have a quick look at that, Jared, and show backup. Remember, backup and backup, so everything has to be backed up. So Mandy got rewarded with a new freezer. She's given us the old one in the house, this is the original freezer that we've got. This is functioning absolutely fine now, isn't it, Jared? But when you went to place the food order today, we always inspected the quality of our rats and the condition. And we found that there was some extra defrosted, was it the rat fluffs, Jared? What did you have to throw away?
The fluffs and the pups had thawed through and they were all bloody and disgusting, so...
Yeah, we thought there's no way we're risking that, even if it's £200 written off. And we might be able to claim it on our insurance, actually, thinking about it, and they might be able to compensate us, because I think some insurance policies do. But we just placed a £650 order for food today. And the nice thing is that backup, so we're going to make sure that these two freezers are going to be able to have the backup that we require. Now remember, we've got this new variant of COVID coming to the UK and other parts of the world. We need to be careful and plan ahead and think what's going to happen to the transportation, what's going to happen to the production. Are people going to be refurloughed? I hope not. I hope these vaccines are strong enough to fight against it. I've had my booster. They're now encouraging in the UK to kids as low as 12 to 15 going to school getting their jabs because they're trying to contain this, and they say the new variant is potentially three times as strong as the Delta variant. The Delta variant was a worrying concern for us a few months ago, but I think the reality is that we've all been, most of us have been immunised, most of us have had boosters, so I just hope and pray that what we've got in us is going to fight this new variant if it does come our way. But I think I'm planning to continue to be careful with my social engagements, careful with keeping within bubbles, going to put my mask back on as I'm going out. I'm going to be careful about who I mix with. As far as my other business is concerned, I haven't opened up the practice completely because I'm normally seeing clients on a daily basis, and we're now doing everything by Zoom, we're doing everything by telephone. As long as we've got the power, we've got it. So I just think that we need to be really precautious and careful because we're not through this crisis yet, and I would say to all our viewers out there to be really careful. I know it's hard during Christmas because we want to be able to see our friends and family, and I'm still planning to do that. We're still going to do that unless the government give us any changes in that. But I think let's enjoy our snakes, protect them, let's think about their welfare. Let's think about have you got enough food in to last the next 2 or 3 months, just in case there is a bit of a problem with supply chains letting us down. So we've ordered enough to last us a couple of months, and of course during the critical stage of breeding, the last thing you need is to run out of Maltese, and we've tried to place orders of Maltese over the last 3 weeks, Jared, and in the UK you just can't get hold of them. They're like gold dust. So I can see why people breed their own, but we have managed to place an order today, and we've managed to get 200 Maltese in, which will last us probably the best part of 2 months. And we just got to make sure we've got some in reserve, because the supply chain is not as reliable as we think, and the demand for Maltese is increasing during the breeding period. So bear that in mind, guys. Get your Maltese in as early as you can, and make sure you've got some in store so that you can actually maintain your feeding regimes through the breeding cycle. And those Maltese are key to success in my book. So I'm glad that we placed that order, Jared. So that's a little bit on the feeding. Let's have a little look at some snakes, because I know that I'm now confident that I can open up a few drawers and show you some of our snakes. And one of the things I found really interesting today, Jared, is I know my girls very well, because I take care of the girls, don't I, Jared? You take care of the hatchlings and the adult males and the sub-adults.
And all of the girls over there.
And you take care of the girls over there too. And I'd be interested to see what your views are, but I've experienced a couple of interesting things here. On the adult girls that were a little bit flinchy, now let me give you an example. We've got a girl here that every time I open the rub, she flinches. And you can see she's a bit shy. Now today, when I went to see her, she wasn't in flinchy mood, she was relaxed. And she was much more docile. And I'll just see whether she's still in the same state. We'll just show you the behaviour. So this is Tinker. She's 100% het pied, and she's part of our Dreamsicle project going forward. Now look, she's never been as chilled as this. She'd normally be going straight into her hide, flinching, jumping, and you see her body jumping. Now since we've fasted her for 10 days, and since she's had that drop in temperature on Saturday and now it's recovered, it's reset her for some reason. And I think we've got better ambient temperature, better humidity now. And just look at her, Jared, she's just so chilled. She seems like a different snake. And we don't overhandle her. I mean, normally you'd go in that close, you'd take that as an offensive attack. Now, this is something, behaviour-wise, I'm finding very fascinating, because I know these snakes really well, and this is not the norm for her. So she's now in a different mode. And look, she's just chilled, absolutely chilled. Now, the other one that normally has a little bit of a nervous disposition is our yellow belly pastel pied. And she's over here. She's hopefully going to get ready for us for breeding season. She's still a bit underweight, Jared, isn't she? But she's trying to remember where she is now.
Second from bottom.
Second from bottom. Buttercup. Now Buttercup loves her hide. She's outside her hide. She's on the hot spot. And look, she would normally be going into her hide now. She'd be flinching, and her head would be buried in her body, and she would be like a little bit shy. Now right now that's as confident as I've seen her. And the other thing I've noticed is that all our snakes' coloration has improved. They're glowing. Something's happened. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of our snakes in a much better light, Jad. And you mentioned some of your hatchlings have got glowing properties on the het. You know the het.
Oh yeah, those ones have always been gorgeous. I just saw it more today.
They look like a platinum look, but that's shining more. I'm seeing a difference in the hatchlings as well. And let's have a look at another one. Now, Calico Girl Pringle. She didn't go for us last year. She's normally a very shy, skittery girl. She's in her hide. I want to show you her colour pattern, which has improved in the last few days. And I want to show you her behaviour. Now she is absolutely stunning, Jared. She's a FNF Calico. Yeah. Very similar to the sugar gene, different line. But if and she's also eating a lot better, Jared. But again, she's a very nervous snake, and she would normally go into a ball and hide. She's showing no signs of that at all, absolutely no signs. And there's one other snake that's normally a bit scared, Hazel. I'll show you Hazel. Hazel was an orange dream, yellow belly, 100% het for pied, and she's that close to going into the breeding rotation. Let's see if I can find her, Jared. Hazel, can you see her?
Yeah, she's this one.
Is this one here? Now let's just slowly open it, see whether she's relaxed now. So she's on her hot spot. And this morning she was actually right out here, chilling. let me just show you her, see how she's doing, see if she's still got her confidence levels up. There she is, look, can you see? She would not normally do that, she'd be going straight under her body, hiding in a ball. So she's in a much happier state. And I'm just thinking to myself, the opposition that we had on Saturday with the storm could have been a blessing in disguise, Jared, without us realising it. Because what it's done is actually reset the snakes. It's also made us fine-tune our systems better. And it could well be a blessing in disguise. And I don't think we're going to have the problems that we would worry about. I don't think we're going to have the problems of writing off our breeding season as a result of this, Jared. I think it could actually enhance it. There's one other that is close to breeding. These are the girls that we'd love to breed, but they're about 100 or 200 grams short of the weight. Now, it'd be very interesting to gauge what happens with these girls over the next few months. Whether this has triggered them to feed, triggered them to be more confident, and that we do get them up to size and we can actually bring them into the breeding rotation. We'd love to do it because we want to get orange dream, yellow belly into our pie genes, don't we, Jared? We want to mix those in. Mm-hmm. So Cammy, she's the other one that went off food for a while. She's now back on food. I brought this rub out here. She's a 100% het clown that's also very close to breeding size. Now, just look how chilled she is. She would normally be in her hide, a little bit running. Today, she came out and I stroked her chin, and I've never done that before. So, you know, when you know your snakes and you see a change in behaviour, you have to ask the question, what is going on? Now, Rob's got an idea here that in terms of, not this behaviour, but in terms of the snakes could look like they are returned to normal, but they may not be. Their metabolic rate will have to adjust. It could take several weeks for them to readjust. So this is early days, and therefore be cautious, be careful, monitor them carefully, see how they're behaving. But because their metabolic rate is dropping down, it might be that their stress levels are dropping down, and therefore when we approach them, because they're not as stressed, because they've been pounding food for weeks on months on end, this fast, the power of the fast, we talked about intermittent fasting, we were going to move this way anyway before the storm, but this has accelerated our decision, hasn't it, Jared? So we're moving to a 10-day feeding cycle now on any animal that we feel would benefit. We're going to keep the girls feeding once a week that are moving towards gravid position, so that we want them to build their follicles. The boys will take a smaller meal probably once every 10 days to maintain their weight. Any boys that we need to bring up, we'll give them more food, but the ones that are at where we want them to be, we're going to maintain. And the hatchlings will feed the same way as we had before, once a week, and it's worked well for us. And tonight, is it Wednesday today?
No, Tuesday.
Tomorrow. Wednesday is normally hatchling feeding time, isn't it? Jared and I have, we can't do it anyway because the storm has written off all their food, so they're going to end up having a bit more fasting, and it'd be interesting to delay their feeding for a few days to see what's going on. The other thing I found really interesting, Jared, is that the animals that haven't fed for 10 days are pooing again for the second time, but their poos are smaller, firmer, and better stools. So the intermittent fasting is actually helping any snakes that have big squidgy poos. Actually, their digestive system is digesting what's in their body. They're getting a chance to catch up. And I think this idea of actually pounding our snakes with food is actually it's actually something we should avoid unless it's for girls that are building. I think we've got to really readdress how we as an industry and as we as keepers, a lot of us are feeding perhaps on a weekly basis, and we may be overfeeding our snakes. So I think let's learn from this experience, Jared, and realign ourselves. I mean, to ask you, when you were keeping your own snakes, Jared, you were feeding every 10 days to 2 weeks anyway, weren't you?
Once every 2 weeks for the boys and once a week for the girls.
Yeah, so Jared was doing that prior to coming into this facility with me, and I think we've probably tipped the balance the other way a little bit, and now we're going back to what we believe will be better for the snakes. So there's a little bit of information on that. And I think the other thing, behaviour-wise, is that when I was picking up the hatchling was hugging my hand for my body heat and trying to heat up its core temperature, I believe.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before as much. I mean, they do hug your hand, the hatchlings, quite a lot, but this one was like, the grip was amazingly firm, and it was like that. It was almost like a bond that you just couldn't break, you know. And I found it's really very fascinating. So with that said, let's just have a little look at a couple of other bits of feedback, Jared. So we spoke about Ben and his retic. We spoke about Rob suggesting that we fast the snakes, which is in line with what we're going to do. Got a new subscriber. Thank you to all our new subscribers that have jumped onto the channel. Distinct Reptiles said it was a very informative video we put out yesterday, Jared, and he really appreciated it. And he's got an amazing channel, guys. Go and subscribe and jump onto his channel, Distinct Reptiles. If you want to see quality snakes, that is quality, Jared. I've never seen such a wonderful collection. I mean, he's got a fantastic collection, so please go and give him some love. The other person that I wanted to give a shout out for was Martin Higgins, who put a lovely comment on our video, Jared. He said that he has a girl that's just about to go into prelay shed, and he said his radiator in the house was kicked in and it actually tripped his switch, and he had, without his knowledge, 7 hours of really low temps in the house, and is worried about his girl. And he said that he had 7 hours where it dropped down to 60 degrees centigrade. And I wanted to give him a bit of love and reassurance, because ours didn't go down to 60, they went down to 71, but they've bounced back incredibly well. So I think we had an experience on the first hatchlings of the year. Do you remember your first clutch, Jared? Do you remember what happened?
Yeah, the eggs in the incubator were doing really well.
Yeah.
And then the cooling unit decided to kick in on the incubator randomly. And that hadn't been working for months, so we didn't think it would be an issue. And then all of a sudden it kicked in and made the eggs drop down to 20 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit, yeah.
For half a day, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Now luckily we had a backup incubator. We moved them, we dried them, they were all wet and they were cold, and we thought, oh no, 10 eggs written off. Or was it 9 eggs? 9 eggs. It was my fire girl and the het clown, Joker to the fire girl, and all our beautiful het clowns, which we've now got growing nicely, aren't they, Jared?
Yeah.
So the interesting thing was, we're really excited to get a first clutch this year. It was the first time we've ever had one at the end of February, beginning of March. Actually, hatch. Were they hatching or were they in the incubator? They were in the incubator.
In the incubator. They just started incubating.
I'm trying to think. They were hatched on the 1st of March.
That was my clutch.
That was the clutch that had the problem.
Was it?
Yeah. Was that the cinnamon clutch?
Yeah.
So this was, sorry, it was the cinnamon, not the fire clutch. The cinnamon clutch. We had 10 healthy eggs and we had them given to us in January, and they were ready by the 1st of March. So we were really worried about it, and so we pulled out the cooling element, or disconnected the power. We actually bought a cooler for drinks, didn't we, Jared? And when it came, the cooling element wasn't working now. And it was supposed to go back to the supplier, and he said box it up and send it back, and I just couldn't be bothered to do that, because I thought, we need another incubator, why don't we just convert it into an incubator? So we've got a video, if you want to know how to convert a cooler into an incubator, Jared's got a lovely video he's put out. And it's quite a popular one, Jared, a lot of people are looking at that. And we made the mistake though, that we didn't pull out the cooling element, because we thought it was defunct. Of course, 5 or 6 days later, after the eggs were in there, to our horror, we looked into the incubator and it dropped from 89 degrees Fahrenheit to 30 degrees Fahrenheit in 5 or 6 hours. And we were like, instead of putting out heat, the cooling element was constantly battling against the heating element, and it was just all going all over the shop. So we thought we'd probably written off those eggs. We were really concerned about those eggs, weren't we, Jared?
Mm.
But it turned out every single baby was absolutely fine in that clutch. And so what it teaches us that even with a degree of 89 down to 30 in a incubation process, the embryos must have been so small and still forming that the short-term drop in temperature, which is about 5 or 6 hours, Jared, when we got to it.
Yeah, I think it was about that.
Yeah. And remember, they were soaking wet. We had to use tissue to dry them out.
Mm.
We nursed them back to health, didn't we? We got them back.
Brought them up to room temperature first.
Brought them up to room temperature. We had to then take out all the condensation and then reset the situation. But we got to it early and we managed to get through it. Now, what that teaches me is that the incubation process starts in the female. People don't realise that you could have literally is it how many days? Is it 60 days before the? I'm trying to remember, from ovulation to prelay to putting that clutch on the ground is about 60 days. That means if ovulation is when the sperm and the egg comes together, and that female's got those eggs in her body for 60 days, she's already incubating those embryos before we even put them in the incubator, Jared. And that tells me that I think what Martin's concern is, he's worried that he's going to lose his clutch. But I think these animals are so clever, they'll put all their power and resources into protecting their clutch inside them. And they'll probably self-regulate and do the best they can to maintain the embryo growth. So I think as long as he's managed to get the temperatures back up to 89 in the same day, which I think he has, I think that he's going to be okay, is my gut instinct.
There's a good chance they'll be alright.
I think they're going to be okay. So we're sending Martin a lot of love and hopefully help him to have a little bit of love and support. The Last Crusader thought that our video that we put out was brilliant. He thought it's going to help him become better prepared in the future. So he gave us a lot of love. And of course Hamlin has got his plans. He's building a final build for his facility and he's just readjusted his plans. He's taken on board the content of the video and adapting perhaps his backup plans or his electrical plans, his heating plans. He's revamping it all, I think. Or not revamping it, he's making some adjustments. So Hamlin, I'm looking forward to hearing how that's going, and let us know what you're doing, because I'm always pleased to hear how things are going your end. And thank you for your love and support. And of course, we've also got some extra love and support from Patrick as well. He was so relieved that our snakes, most of our viewers have told us how relieved they are for us that our snakes are okay. And believe you me, my stress levels have dropped a lot over the last couple of days. That I just know that we're going to get through this and we're going to become better as a result of this. So, with only just a little bit left time, I'm going to give a shout out, and the shout out I'm going to give is to Junior at Music City Balls, who's a lovely guy. He's based in the US. He's got some amazing snakes. And how much time have we got, Jared?
7 minutes.
7 minutes. So I'm just going to get his channel up. So it's Music City Balls. He's got a lovely intro. I got to know him from Justin Kabelka's channel, because he's a patron on Justin Kabelka's channel, and a whole bunch of their patrons got VIP visit to Justin, and he's got a lovely video. And I was looking at his reaction to what Justin was doing, and he was taking, most of the guys that did that and the girls that went, they took so much inspiration from what Justin's doing. It's like being in heaven for a keeper or breeder when you go to Justin's facility. And one day, Jared, we'll do that when everything settles down with COVID and Justin invites us. We would love to go and see his facility and take the inspiration. And, you know, we've got enough land and opportunity to enjoy. I think what Justin's got, he's got like quite a decent sized facility, and it's all next to his home like us. But he started like us, Jared. He started in his room, in his bedroom, 20 years ago. And he went from home to a facility, built a facility like this. He's been through 3 or 4 facilities, but to invite, was it 50 or 100 VIP guests? He had a lot of guests come, and Junior was one of them, and he was absolutely buzzing when he got home, and he was like a child in a candy shop, you know. And it's quite funny, he's got, on his channel, he's got a really funny thing going on, because his wife keeps on telling him not to buy any more snakes, and he keeps on convincing her to get some more. And I jokingly said to him, you know, we've got Christmas presents to come yet, so you might even get a chance of one more gift. But Music City Balls, I'm just going to show you if my channel's working. So there is his logo. Have a look at that, Chad, and there's his videos. Just zoom in. Okay, I think the logo's lovely, and I've got a feeling he might even be playing his own music on his intro, a bit like Bob on the Green Room. It's nice to see so many musicians also loving snakes. I think it's really lovely. So it's the creative arts, you see. It's the creative arts that's coming out of us. So that's his logo. There's his video at Canova when he was a VIP guest, and you can see that's well worth having a look. And Justin's giving a lot of personal touches, I think. To open up such a facility to people like that, Jared, is just amazing. So generous. You know, a lot of retail breeders are very protective of their facilities. They don't want people walking in with problems. But I'm thinking Justin is so trusting of his patrons that, and I'm sure the patrons are very respectful, and they make sure that they're not taking any issues into his facility. But you know, I think to myself, you know, 50 to 100 people coming through your facility, there's always a risk that a problem could happen. But the reality is that the relationship must be so strong and so good that he trusts these patrons that they'll come well prepared. But anyway, Junior's video, I'll show you the funny one I thought was quite nice, was this one here. See if it works. He's unboxing something for us.
You guessed it. This is the last snake.
Get the sound up a bit.
the channel. Thank you for clicking on the video. Music City Balls. My name is Junior. Behind the camera is my wife, Sawan, and you are you. Thank you for being here. Click the subscribe if it's your first time here. Hit the likes, hit the comments, guys, and let's go straight to this unboxing, baby. The last snake.
Baby.
You happy about this one? This one is coming from Jeff, from J.U. Rich Reptiles. And we're going straight to it. Because my wife is giving me the evil eye. Let's see what it is. She loves me. If you want to hit here too. Look at that. Nice little. Oh, right. That's my man. Look at Jeff. Baby, how did I tell you I want to ship our animals?
In a box.
All the info, right? Boom. Just like this man right here. Visually inspect you. Oh, look at this. Look at this. A new arrival checklist. This is the first time I see this one. That's pretty legit, Jeff. I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you for your business. Then you got visually inspect your snake, check mark. Set up your snake in the new enclosure. Do not disturb your snake for a minimum of 5 days. I give them a whole week before I try to feed. After a minimum of 5 days, attempt to feed the snake. So what's up, Jeff? This is pretty legit. I'm glad you do this because I did tell my wife on the app that we use to keep the info about snakes and the feeding and everything that I wanted to print something like that and give everybody what they fed, the size every month I weigh the snakes and get the whole history of the snakes. So it's pretty legit, very professional. I mean, I dig this, straight up. And all information for Jeff and J.U. Rich Reptiles, we're gonna put it in the description, guys. Check it out, follow them, beautiful animals. Got some nice stickers right here, Jeff. I will send you mines.
Do a sticker swap.
Yes, another one for the rack. I decided to start putting these magnetic ones in the rack, and it looks pretty cool. So, look at this card. It's pretty legit too.
Very nice.
And he has some more marker right here. Boom. Very professional packaging. A+. Alright, now let's go to the star of the show. Heat pack. Still very warm, pretty good. Jeff, my man. Look at this, guys. Personalized snake bags. Check this out. Legit. 100%.
It's a good idea.
So,
Personalised.
again, very easy to do business with them. Definitely we're doing business again. Beautiful animals. Cool person to deal with. And as you can see, as professional as they could be. Taking this serious. And just like we are. We can't wait to ship our first animal. We got 2. Wow. That will be on Morph Market today. Well, today, but now by the time you see this video, it will be already there. And let's look at this right here.
So what is this?
What is this? That's a good, beautiful question. This is actually a straight up albino. It's like
That's
pastel.
what they look like.
This is what they look like. If you've seen our video of the cutting of the supposed albino eggs, it was a mess. But look, we got an albino right here. Got some stuff in there. Look at that. Right here, you check that.
Beautifully sampled.
Pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
It's got something else in it though that makes it special.
Maybe. Yeah.
Do you know what's in there?
So, this is a black pastel albino,
Gorgeous, just gorgeous.
and he is a male. It's 100% head eyeball. So, definitely got a few.
There you go, Junior. So there's a shout out for Junior. Go give him a follow. He's a lovely guy. He's got some quality. That's just one example of what he's going for. Black pastel, albino, 100% heifer pied. So thank you for watching, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Bye bye for now.